Well, settle up, my dear nerds, because this video is gonna be absolutely crazy. I'm of course gonna talk about Retroid again, because the whole drama with the Retroid Mini just reached a whole new level of juiciness. And when I'm saying juiciness, I'm actually referring to freaking tragedy, because what we're actually seeing here is a company quickly, basically, ruining their reputation. And besides Retroid, we don't have many good, decent companies out there that can do actual decent handhelds. But oh boy, did they metaphorically take a poop and just threw it in a fan. A fellow nerd who knew a lot about screens basically found out that Retroid actually put the same, almost one by one, 3.94 inch OLED display that we have in the future Retroid Pocket Classic, by the way, in the Retroid Pocket Mini. But they tried to get away with it by basically putting these huge top and bottom bezels over here. The actual screen apparently is more edge to edge than this, and that would have given it an improper resolution that would have made it impossible for people to scale with double integer scaling for ATP. This is an ongoing story, so whatever you might hear in this video, know that Retroid also has to respond to this, which they'll probably do on Monday, aka tomorrow. Just keep an eye out because this video might be outdated fairly quickly. And that retro handheld lover that knows about screens, I'm sorry, my guy, I don't know your name, I would have loved to feature you on this channel. He actually made a very nice post about this problem. I'm gonna do some lazy content and we're gonna basically read through it. This guy went and did a proper analysis, you see. He was very confused because there's no actual 3.7 inch 1280 by 960 panel out there that's OLED ever in this freaking world. Apparently it doesn't exist. And he tried to find the model number of that panel. He couldn't. Then he realized that this panel actually had this specific controller, which is not a 3.7 inch panel, but a 3.92. This is the panel that exists in our beloved Retroid Pocket Mini, which is supposed to have a 4x3 screen. This is not a 4x3 screen. This is close to 1x1, but these bezels are freaking artificial, if you can believe it. This is how the screen actually looks. Bear in mind, this is vertically oriented. And the guy, bless his soul, figured out that the screen is actually the one that was used in the LG Wing, which, if you remember the LG Wing, it was a beauty of a phone. It had a dual screen and it would basically flip like this. It was amazing. And this is the screen that was used in our Retroid Pocket Mini and the future upcoming Retroid Pocket Classic. So our guy then purchased a Retroid Pocket Mini, bless his soul, and swiftly butchered it to take the screen out. I have to commend this guy. I wouldn't be able to do it, to buy a brand new handheld only to end it, to end its beautiful handheld existence. I wouldn't be able to do that. He had some difficulties getting to the screen. This is the front of the Retroid Pocket Mini. And this picture is the most important picture in this whole situation. This picture single-handedly might actually do immense PR damage to Retroid. I know for a fact a lot of goodwill from this company was probably erased from the situation. The screen is actually this screen. This is not a 4x3 screen. Look at how small the bezels of this screen are and how big the bezels on the Retroid Pocket Mini are. Let me just flip through these a few times so you get an idea. You see, from what I understand, you see these bezels over here. Underneath these bezels, there is still active screen. meaning that that screen could still be used. It's part of the display panel. It's not an actual display frame. This screen right here, this one, is the same exact panel just on the 7th of March when they showed off the Retroid Pocket Classic. They were asked by Captain Gene PS5, is this the same screen as on the Retroid Pocket Mini? And they outright said no. Let's go back to our little article here. You know, this guy, I'm gonna link this article in the description below, by the way. This guy, bless his freaking soul, continued on to say that this is weird. Retroid advertises the screen as a 1280 by 960p resolution on the Mini, but since they were using this panel, they were actually caught in a lie. Retroid is hiding some of the panel active area behind the bezel. Just as a reminder, I'm referring to these huge freaking bezels that were always a deal breaker for me. I love edge-to-edge full screen displays. They are using the full 1240 horizontal resolution, and the vertical resolution is getting a bit cropped up as a result. And they are leaning hard on the, well, this is beyond my knowledge, on the pentile subpixel layout and sheer pixel density, and assuming no one will find out the actual resolution is lower than advertised. So, to test this hypothesis, the guy, like I said, basically killed his Retroid Pocket Mini and did some actual math, some actual, pixel sorcery math to prove this. Apparently, he was right. The panel used in the Retroid Pocket Mini is not a native 960p panel that Retroid advertised. It's likely the 3.92-inch panel that we're gonna see in the Classic as well. Basically, what this means is that this screen could never ever have integer scaled 480p by 2x because it simply never had enough pixels to do so. So the display driver on the display itself scaled that image to this resolution, which was not consistent to the pixel count of the actual display, because remember, the display is actually bigger than the viewable visible area that we have here on the Mini. And this is outright, in my personal opinion, a tragedy, my dear nerds. They would have sold this way better if they had the full display area on this thing. We know for a fact that the Mini can fit that 3.92-inch display because they're using it. That's what we have inside here. The fact that they chose to cover part of the display is... I'm not getting it. Like, people... Retroid, if you're watching this, people would prefer a triangle-shaped, full-screen, bezel-less display rather than thick, disgusting bezels. You could have avoided all of this drama, you could have given people a bigger display, and you could have been more or less richer by now because you would have sold more of these freaking things. People usually want a smaller handheld, and this being smaller than the Retroid Pocket 5, it clearly had a market. It clearly had a freaking market. Even gimped like this, it still had a market. Whoever at Retroid thought, hey, this is a good idea, should be fired. This brought so much circus and so much goodwill burning, such a huge damage to the company image that I don't think Retroid can recover from this. This will have waves bigger than when they did the Retroid Pocket 3 and shortly after they released the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. This is simply a freaking disaster. My dear nerds, horrible, horrible situation, messy situation. You know what I don't get? What I simply don't understand? Why would they have done this? That's what I don't understand. I understand they wanted a 4x3 screen, but in this situation where they didn't find a 4x3 OLED panel, they could have gone away with this 3.92 almost 1x1 screen because people would have gotten creative. People like me, sinful creatures like me, would have stretched to fit the poop out of all systems on that screen, including PSP. You should see my RG Cube XX review where, no, RG Cube review where I actually stretched to fit PSP. It's glorious. Other people would have lived with overlays or black bars. I just don't understand it. I don't defend Retroid in this. I don't. I simply can't understand. They would have sold more with a bigger screen on this. That's all I'm saying. So I'm curious how Retroid will find their way out of this one. I'm curious what will they say, because they basically got caught red-handed. That's why I'm making this video now. I actually wanted to make a community post about this, but I feel like this whole situation warrants a one by one discussion between you and me. What do you think? This is all from me, my dear nerds. This is a quick video. I'm gonna do very little editing on this. Wanted to bring this whole situation to your attention. Let me know what you think about this. As always, I hope you know that I love you, and we'll see each other next time. Nerd kisses will never go away.